Imagine a single drop of water. It falls from the sky, glimmers in the sunlight for a brief second, and disappears into the vast ocean. At first glance, it's nothing more than a drop, tiny, fragile, easy to overlook. But what if that single drop carried within it the whole ocean? What if, hidden inside its shimmer, we could discover the secrets of the universe? For thousands of years, Buddhist masters have spoken through parables and images like this. Simple, ordinary things that point us toward extraordinary truths. They remind us that reality is never as small as it appears. The infinite can live within the finite, the whole can dwell inside the part, and the ocean can indeed be found in a single drop of water. Pause for a moment and let this thought settle. It sounds poetic, maybe even impossible. But the more you look, the more you realize it isn't fantasy. It's the very fabric of existence. A drop of water does not exist on its own. To arrive in your hand, it needed clouds, and those clouds needed vapor, which needed rivers, which needed rain before them. Each drop contains the sun that warmed the ocean, the wind that carried the cloud, the earth that shaped the river, and even the vast galaxy that keeps the planets turning. The drop is never just a drop. It is a mirror of the whole, and so are we. You and I may feel small, isolated, separate from the world around us. But just like that drop, we carry within us the entire ocean of life. Our breath holds the forests that gave us oxygen. Our blood carries the minerals once flowing through ancient mountains. Our thoughts echo the voices of our ancestors. We are not fragments, we are continuations of everything. The Zen tradition often uses images like this not as puzzles to be solved, but as invitations to look deeper. When a master points to a single drop and says, "Here lies the ocean," it isn't a riddle, it's a doorway, a way of turning our gaze from the ordinary toward the profound, from the surface of things to their essence. Think about how a child looks at the world. A child can see a universe in a soap bubble, a galaxy in a puddle after rain. They haven't yet learned to divide the world into important and unimportant. They see wonder everywhere. That is the very spirit of this metaphor. To look again, as if for the first time, and realize that within the smallest detail, the entire cosmos breathes. There's a story told about a monk who held up a bowl of water in front of his students. He asked, "What do you see?" Some said, "We see water." Others replied, "We see a reflection of the sky." The monk smiled and said, "I see mountains, rivers, clouds, the sun, and the moon. I see the cycle of life." What he was teaching is that nothing exists alone. Water is not just water, it's the whole world. And that teaching is not confined to monks or monasteries. You've probably seen it yourself, though perhaps you didn't notice. Think of the last time you held a cup of tea. Within that cup was not just liquid. There was the rain that nourished the tea plant, the soil that anchored its roots, the farmer who cared for it, the generations of knowledge that taught people how to cultivate it. Each sip was the world entering your body. One small act containing infinity. This is what the drop of water invites us to see. That even the smallest moment, the briefest encounter, the tiniest detail of our lives is not small at all. It carries the weight and beauty of the entire universe. When you walk outside and a raindrop touches your skin, you are being touched by oceans, clouds, rivers, sunlight, and starlight, all at once. When you breathe in, you are breathing the same air once shared by ancient forests and living creatures long gone. Nothing is ever truly separate. Nothing is ever truly lost. So why does this matter? Because when we begin to see the ocean in the drop, our lives transform. We stop chasing the illusion of separateness. We stop thinking, "I am alone, I am small, I am insignificant." Instead, we awaken to the truth that within us lies the whole ocean of life. Every step we take ripples outward. Every word we speak carries the weight of the universe. Every act of kindness touches not just one person, but countless others in ways we may never fully see. And this vision brings us peace. Suddenly, the rush of modern life feels less overwhelming. The drop does not have to prove its worth. It already carries the ocean. You and I do not have to become anything more. We already contain the boundless. This first drop, then, is not just a symbol. It is an invitation to wonder, to look again at the ordinary and discover the extraordinary, to remember that life is not fragmented but whole, that in each breath, each step, each drop of water, the infinite unfolds. And once we accept this invitation, once we dare to look closely, something begins to change. We realize that the drop doesn't just reflect the ocean, it depends on it. That in the heart of one, the all is found. That the story of a single drop is never just its own, but the story of everything. And so the journey begins. Alone, what seems like a single, isolated bead is in fact the result of countless relationships. Without the sun to draw vapor from the sea, there would be no cloud. Without the cloud, no rain. Without the rain, no river. And without the river, no ocean for the drop to return to. This is the teaching of interdependence, what the Buddha called pratityasamutpada, dependent origination. It tells us that nothing exists by itself. Every being, every moment, every breath is woven into a vast web of conditions. When one thread moves, the entire fabric shifts. Think of a spider's web covered in dew at dawn. Each tiny droplet reflects the whole sky, yet each is also connected by invisible threads. Touch one strand and the vibration ripples across the entire web. Life is like this. We may imagine ourselves as solitary drops, but in truth, we are threads in a web so vast it stretches beyond what our eyes can see. A raindrop's journey makes this clear. Picture it, high above the earth, vapor gathers into a cloud. Winds carry it across mountains and valleys. At last, the droplet forms, heavy enough to fall. It descends through the open air, lands upon a leaf, trickles into the soil, joins a stream, and finally returns to the sea. Along the way, it nourishes plants, cools the earth, quenches thirst, and sustains life. One small drop, yet its journey touches everything. And so it is with us. Each choice we make, each word we speak, each thought we nurture ripples outward. We cannot exist apart from others because others live within us. Your laughter carries the voices of your ancestors. Your breath carries the forests that gave it birth. Even your heartbeat is not yours alone. It beats with the rhythm of generations before you, and it sustains generations yet to come. When we forget this truth, we fall into the illusion of separation. We imagine ourselves as lonely drops, struggling to survive in a vast and indifferent world. But when we see with clarity, we realize that the drop and the ocean are never apart. The drop is the ocean, moment by moment, breath by breath. In Zen, there is a saying, the part is not separate from the whole, and the whole is not separate from the part. To see interdependence is to awaken from the dream of isolation. Suddenly, the walls we build around ourselves begin to dissolve. The anger we hold against another softens when we realize we are bound together. Like waves of the same sea, the pride we take in being independent fades, replaced by gratitude for the countless lives that make our own possible. Consider something as simple as the meal you ate today. Within a single grain of rice lies the farmer's labor, the sun's warmth, the rain's nourishment, the soil's richness, and the countless generations who passed down the knowledge of cultivation. That rice could not exist without the earth beneath it, the sky above it, or the unseen hands that cared for it. And when you take a bite, you do not merely consume rice, you partake in the whole universe. This is why mindfulness is so powerful. It allows us to pierce the illusion of separateness and see the vast network that sustains us. When you drink a glass of water, you are not merely quenching thirst. You are receiving a gift that began in the ocean, traveled through clouds and rivers, and now flows into you. That awareness turns a simple act into a moment of reverence. And with reverence comes responsibility. If every drop is part of the ocean, then how we treat one drop matters. Pollute a river and the ocean suffers. Harm one being and countless others are touched. But the reverse is also true. Nurture one life, and life itself is uplifted. A single drop of compassion can ripple outward in ways beyond our imagination. There's a story from the Buddha's time about a monk who asked, "How can I know the vastness of the universe?" The Buddha pointed to a single flower and said, "Look deeply, and you will see mountains, rivers, clouds, and stars within it. The flower, like the drop, carries the whole. The teaching is clear. To know the universe, we need not search the heavens. We need only look deeply into what is right in front of us. So what does this mean for our lives? It means that no act is too small, no being too insignificant. Just as a drop contains the ocean, every moment contains eternity. When you speak a kind word, you are not just soothing one heart, you are echoing across the web of life. When you take a mindful breath, you are not just calming yourself, you are harmonizing with the rhythm of the cosmos. And slowly, we begin to live differently. We start to notice connections where before we saw divisions. We recognize that to care for ourselves is to care for others, and to care for others is to care for ourselves. The boundaries blur, and life reveals itself as a seamless whole. The ocean in the drop is not just a metaphor, it is reality waiting for us to notice. Every glance, every step, every heartbeat is a reminder that we are not alone and never have been. We are threads in an infinite web, waves in a boundless sea, drops that already carry the ocean. As this understanding deepens, it naturally leads us to the next truth. If the drop and the ocean are not truly separate, then what does that say about the very idea of separation itself? Is it real, or is it an illusion created by the mind? To answer this, we must step into the mystery of emptiness, where the boundaries we cling to dissolve, and the truth of unity shines through. Fragment of the vast beach. At first, it seems insignificant. Yet if you look more closely, the grain itself contains the story of the mountains it was worn from, the rivers that carried it, the wind that polished it, and the countless suns that warmed the earth it rested upon. Within this single grain, the whole world has left its mark. This is the essence of the microcosm and the macrocosm, the profound Buddhist insight that the small reflects the whole, and the whole is mirrored in the small. Every phenomenon, every being, every instant of life is not isolated. Each contains the entire universe, like a single drop carrying the ocean. Think of your own body for a moment. A single cell contains within it the blueprint for your entire being. Within that cell is the history of life itself, the DNA passed down through countless generations, shaped by the same forces that have sculpted mountains, rivers, and seas. Look closely, and you can see the entire universe dancing in miniature. Your body is not merely flesh and blood. It is a cosmos walking, breathing, thinking, and feeling. Buddhism teaches us to see in the part the reflection of the whole. A leaf is not just a leaf. It is sunlight captured, rain absorbed, soil nourished, air purified. A smile is not just a smile. It is a reflection of countless acts of kindness and care, the love of ancestors, and the hopes of those yet to come. A single thought is not just a thought. It is a ripple across the vast ocean of consciousness. Storytelling is one of the oldest ways this teaching has been shared. There's a tale of a monk who held up a pebble and asked his disciples, "What do you see?" One saw a pebble. Another saw a stone shaped by time. But the monk said, "I see stars, oceans, mountains, and clouds. I see life itself within this pebble." The lesson was simple yet radical. By seeing deeply into the smallest thing, we see the universe. This perspective changes everything. Life is no longer a collection of separate events or objects. Every small act, every fleeting moment, carries the weight and beauty of the entire cosmos. Pour a cup of water and you participate in clouds, rivers, and seas. Plant a seed and you touch the sun, the soil, and countless unseen beings that make growth possible. A tiny gesture, like offering a kind word, is never just that. It resonates across the network of life. Even in the mind, this principle holds true. Our thoughts are not isolated. They are mirrors of the cosmos. When a thought of anger arises, it is shaped by the world around us, our upbringing, society, nature, and countless unseen forces. When a thought of compassion arises, it too carries echoes of the universe. The microcosm of our mind contains the macrocosm of existence. Meditative practice helps us perceive this. In sitting quietly, observing the breath, we begin to notice how the tiniest sensation, A single inhalation, a single heartbeat, contains entire worlds. The breath carries life-sustaining oxygen, connecting us to forests, oceans, and skies. The heartbeat carries energy that has traveled through generations of life. A moment of awareness becomes a doorway to infinity. And as we deepen this awareness, we begin to notice something profound. The distinction between small and large, part and whole, begins to dissolve. We realize that the drop does not merely reflect the ocean. The drop is the ocean. The pebble does not merely hold a story. It is the story. Our own lives, so fleeting, so fragile, are no less than the life of stars and seas. This understanding naturally leads us to a more challenging insight. If the small contains the whole, then what truly exists on its own? If every part mirrors the cosmos, if every cell, every drop, every leaf is inseparable from the whole, then separation is an illusion. The boundaries we cling to, between self and other, between life and life, between beginning and end, begin to blur. The microcosm reveals the macrocosm, and the macrocosm is present in the microcosm. To see this is to awaken to the seamless unity of all things. And yet, this is only the beginning. To fully grasp the nature of this interconnectedness, we must go deeper. We must confront the very idea of self and other, the seeming reality of boundaries, and the illusion of separation itself. That is the doorway that opens into emptiness, the space where all distinctions fade, where the part is indistinguishable from the whole, where the ocean is not in the drop, and the drop is not separate from the ocean. This is the next step on our journey, where the dance of microcosm and macrocosm leads us into the profound mystery of reality itself. Close your eyes and imagine the ocean. Vast, endless waves rising and falling, each distinct yet inseparable from the whole. Now imagine a single drop rising from the sea. Is it separate? Can it claim an identity independent of the water around it? Try as it might, the drop cannot escape its nature. It is water, always part of the ocean. This is the teaching of sunyata, or emptiness, one of the deepest insights of Buddhism. Emptiness does not mean nothingness. It does not mean void or absence. It means that nothing exists independently, that nothing has a fixed, separate self. Every phenomenon is empty of inherent existence, arising only in relation to everything else. A tree is not just a tree. A mountain is not just a mountain. A single drop of water is never just a drop. Consider the waves again. Each crest appears separate, crashing and rolling, moving as if distinct. But remove the idea of separation, and you see the truth. The wave is the ocean, and the ocean is the wave. The apparent boundaries exist only in our perception. This is why the Buddha often said, "Form is emptiness, emptiness is form." What we see as distinct and separate is actually part of a boundless whole. In our daily lives, we cling to separateness. I am me, you are you. My success, my failure, my happiness, my pain. And yet, if we look deeply, even our sense of self is a collection of conditions. Memories, experiences, the breath that sustains us, the food that nourishes us, the air that surrounds us, the countless lives that made our existence possible. The self we defend so fiercely is nothing but a drop in the infinite ocean. Emptiness is liberating because it dissolves the illusions that bind us. When we believe in separateness, we feel fear, anger, jealousy, pride, and isolation. We struggle to hold on to things that were never ours to begin with. But when we perceive emptiness, we see that attachment is a misunderstanding. The drop does not possess the ocean, yet it contains the ocean within itself. It is free. Zen masters often use simple gestures to convey this truth. A monk holds a bowl of water and invites students to look into it. They see their reflection. They see the sky. They see the mountains, the trees, the world. And then the monk asks, who is separate? Who is not? The students pause, and in that moment, they begin to grasp the emptiness of all distinctions. Emptiness also reveals the profound interconnectedness we explored before. Because nothing exists independently, everything depends on everything else. You cannot harm another without touching yourself. You cannot act in isolation because your choices ripple through the web of existence. And in the same way, the compassion you extend, the kindness you offer, flows outward infinitely, returning to you in ways you may never perceive. Storytelling brings this to life. Imagine a raindrop falling into a calm pond. The ripple spreads, touching every corner. The drop does not say, "I am just one, my effect is small." It simply merges and the pond responds. Life is like that. When we act from awareness of emptiness, we participate in the natural flow of the universe, harmonizing with it rather than fighting against it. Meditative practice deepens this understanding. Sit quietly, observe your breath, feel the rise and fall of your chest. Notice the sensations in your body, the thoughts in your mind. As you do, see how each moment arises dependent on countless conditions. Each thought, each feeling, each sensation is a wave on the ocean of awareness. None exists separately. And in that awareness, the boundaries that once seemed so solid begin to dissolve. The realization of emptiness does not detach us from life. It connects us more deeply. We no longer cling to a fragile self because we recognize that self was never separate to begin with. We no longer grasp after permanence because we see the impermanence in all things. And we begin to act with wisdom and compassion, knowing that every action touches the whole. Emptiness invites us to release our fear of loss, our need for control, our illusions of separation. It reveals that the ocean is always present in the drop, that the drop is never apart from the ocean. And as this truth sinks in, a sense of freedom arises. Not freedom to escape, but freedom to live fully, to love fully, to be fully present. And yet, this is only one layer of the journey. To fully embody this insight, we must look inward beyond the surface and recognize that the ocean is not only in the drop, it is within us. The microcosm reflects the macrocosm. The whole universe lives in our smallest cells, our tiniest gestures, our quietest breaths. And from this realization springs not only understanding but profound transformation. As the waves of emptiness settle in, the mind begins to expand. The illusion of separation fades, leaving a sense of unity, peace, and clarity. And in that clarity, we are naturally drawn to explore the vastness within, the ocean that is already here, within the very heart of each drop. Take a moment to pause and breathe. Feel the air entering your lungs, filling every corner of your body, carrying life itself. Now imagine that within you, within the smallest cells of your being, lies the entire universe. The oceans, the mountains, the stars above, the winds across distant plains, they are all reflected in the very essence of your being. You are not a mere observer of life. You are life itself, vast and infinite, contained within your own form. This is the teaching of the self as the ocean. Just as a drop reflects the entire sea, each of us holds within us the whole of existence. Your mind, your heart, your body, they are not small, separate entities. They are microcosms carrying the macrocosm within. To understand this is to awaken to a profound truth. You are never apart from the universe. You are not alone. Consider your thoughts. A single idea may seem fleeting, but it is a manifestation of countless conditions. The people you have met, the experiences you have lived, the countless generations of knowledge and memory that have shaped your mind. In this way, your inner world is an echo of the outer cosmos. Every smile, every breath, every moment of awareness contains the entire history of life. Your emotions, too, reflect this truth. Compassion, love, grief, joy, they are not merely yours. They are rivers that flow from the vast ocean of shared existence. When you feel love, it is not limited to yourself. It resonates with the universe, touching life in ways both visible and invisible. When you experience grief, it is not isolated pain. It is a wave connected to all suffering, a reflection of the impermanence that defines everything. Storytelling helps us see this more clearly. Imagine a young monk sitting by a quiet stream. He dips his hands into the cool water and gazes at the ripples. At first, he sees only the surface, small circles expanding outward. But then in the reflection of the water, he glimpses the trees, the sky, the clouds, and himself, all connected. He realizes that he is not separate from the world around him. He is a part of it, and it is a part of him. The ocean is within him, as he is within the ocean. Buddhism teaches that this recognition is not mere philosophy. It is a lived experience. Through meditation and mindfulness, we can feel the universe in our breath, in our heartbeat, in the quiet awareness of being. Each inhalation carries the legacy of forests, rivers, and skies. Each exhalation returns life back to the world. In this simple act, we see that the boundary between self and other, between inside and outside, begins to dissolve. When we embrace this understanding, our actions naturally shift. We begin to act with care, knowing that to harm another is, in truth, to harm ourselves. We begin to live with intention, recognizing that even our smallest choices carry immense weight. A kind word, a thoughtful gesture, a moment of patience, they are all waves in the vast ocean of life, rippling far beyond what we can see. There is a story of a master teaching a disciple about the universe within. The disciple asked, "How can I ever understand the vastness of all things?" The master led him to a quiet garden, plucked a flower, and said, "Look deeply. See how the sun, the rain, the soil, the wind, and the seasons are all present here. And now, see yourself reflected in it. You are not separate. The universe lives in you as you live in the universe." This realization transforms the way we see ourselves. We are no longer isolated points in a vast, indifferent cosmos. We are centers of awareness, microcosms reflecting the macrocosm. The energy of the stars flows in our veins. The wisdom of ancestors echoes in our minds. The potential for compassion, love, and understanding is as vast as the ocean itself. Yet, understanding this truth is only the beginning. The real power lies in living it. When we recognize the universe within, every moment becomes sacred. Every encounter becomes a reflection of the whole. Every breath is an opportunity to connect with the boundless life that pulses through all things. The self as the ocean is not an abstraction. It is an invitation to fully inhabit our lives, to recognize our place within the infinite, and to act with clarity and compassion. And as this understanding deepens, we naturally begin to see the reflections of the ocean not only within ourselves, but in every being around us. The line between self and other fades. We see the same ocean in the eyes of another, the same cosmos in a stranger's smile, the same waves in the laughter of a child. We recognize that to honor another is to honor ourselves, and to serve the world is to serve the depths of our own being. The ocean within is boundless, infinite, and present in every moment. To touch it is to awaken to the truth of unity, to dissolve the illusions of separation, and to live with both humility and majesty. And as we begin to embody this awareness, we are naturally drawn to act with compassion, wisdom, and mindfulness, carrying the ocean into every corner of our lives. From this understanding, a new journey begins. The journey of seeing not only the universe within, but the universe reflected in every act, every interaction, and every moment. It is a journey into compassion, responsibility, and the profound recognition that the whole is always present, in us and around us. And as we move forward, this awareness leads us to the next profound truth, that every act of kindness, every moment of awareness, every ripple we create is part of an infinite web of existence. Each gesture, each breath, each thought is a drop that touches the ocean, expanding beyond what we can see, transforming the world quietly, profoundly, and endlessly. Imagine a single drop of water falling into a vast ocean. As it meets the waves, it does not resist. It does not demand attention. It simply merges. In that moment, the drop's existence becomes inseparable from the whole. This is compassion in action, the quiet understanding that the self and others are never truly apart. To care for another is to care for oneself, because the drop and the ocean are one. Buddhism teaches that compassion is not a moral obligation. It is the natural response when we recognize the interconnectedness of all things. When we see the ocean in the drop, we cannot help but extend kindness, patience, and understanding. The suffering of others resonates within us, not as a distant echo, but as a wave within our own being. Every act of cruelty, every harsh word, every thought of indifference creates ripples that touch the whole, just as every act of kindness does. Consider a story of a monk walking along a river. He sees a small bird struggling in the water, unable to reach the shore. Without hesitation, he reaches out, lifts the bird gently, and sets it safely on land. Later, a student asks, "Master, why did you help the bird? It is just one small creature." The monk smiles and replies, "If this drop suffers, the ocean suffers. How could I remain unmoved?" Compassion begins with seeing the world as it truly is. Every being, human, animal, plant, even the tiniest microorganism, is part of the vast ocean of life. When we recognize this, the barriers between self and other dissolve. The person sitting beside us is not separate. Their pain, their joy, their fear, and their hope are reflections of our own. To harm another is to harm ourselves. To help another is to help ourselves. This perspective transforms daily life. Imagine the simple act of holding a door open for a stranger. It seems small, almost trivial. Yet in the web of existence, that gesture sends a ripple outward, touching more than we can ever know. The warmth of kindness spreads, inspiring smiles, easing burdens, and cultivating connection. Each compassionate act, no matter how minor it appears, participates in the healing of the whole. Meditative practice strengthens this awareness. When we sit in quiet reflection, we can visualize the interconnectedness of all beings. Picture each person, each creature, each leaf, as a drop of water in the boundless ocean. Feel the wave of life that connects them all. With every inhale, draw in the suffering of the world. With every exhale, send out compassion, patience, and care. Slowly, the heart softens and the mind opens. There is a story of a wise woman who taught her students about compassion. She said, "Imagine you are holding a drop of oil. Now imagine the ocean. If the drop is untouched, the ocean is untouched. If the drop is poisoned, the ocean suffers. Your own heart is this drop. When you harm another, you harm yourself. When you help another, you heal yourself." This is the simplicity and profundity of seeing others as yourself. Compassion does not require grand gestures. It thrives in everyday life, in the words we speak, the attention we give, the understanding we extend. A smile, a listening ear, a patient pause, all are drops that join the ocean. And just as the ocean is vast, so too is the potential of our compassionate actions. Even the smallest ripple can touch distant shores. Recognizing the ocean in the drop also teaches us forgiveness. When someone wrongs us, it is easy to cling to anger and resentment, as if that act exists independently of the web of life. But when we understand interdependence, we see that no one acts alone. Conditions shape behavior. Understanding does not justify harm, but it allows us to respond with wisdom rather than reaction. We see the humanity, the connectedness, the shared experience of suffering and joy, and so compassion becomes a natural extension of awareness. It flows effortlessly, like water joining water, like the drop returning to the ocean. We begin to act not out of obligation or fear, but out of recognition of our shared existence. Our choices ripple outward, touching lives and changing the world in ways we may never fully perceive. In the same way, the Buddha taught the practice of metta, loving kindness. Extend love to yourself, to those close to you, to those you do not know, even to those who oppose you. See each being as part of the same ocean, as containing the same depths of suffering and joy. Let your heart expand like a drop dissolving into the sea, embracing all without discrimination. Compassion, then, is not a burden. It is the natural expression of insight. When we realize that the drop cannot exist apart from the ocean, it becomes impossible to turn away from the suffering of another. Our care flows outward, guided by wisdom, sustained by awareness, and nourished by the understanding that every being is part of the whole. As this insight deepens, we begin to see that the ocean is not only around us, it is in us. Every act of love, patience, and understanding strengthens the connection, turning ordinary moments into extraordinary expressions of life. The boundaries between self and other dissolve, revealing the truth. The universe lives in every drop, and every drop contains the universe. And from this place of awakened compassion, the journey continues. Having recognized the depth of connection and the importance of kindness, we are naturally guided toward wisdom. For the ocean in the drop is not only compassionate, it is knowing. The next step is to understand how the ripples we create, the choices we make, and the awareness we cultivate can bring insight, clarity, and transformation, disturbing the calm. Yet the moment it touches the water, ripples spread outward, widening, reaching the farthest edges. That small, simple act, so easily overlooked, touches everything. The ocean operates in the same way. Each small choice, each fleeting gesture, can create ripples of infinite impact. In Buddhism, this is the essence of wisdom. True wisdom is not merely knowledge of facts or clever ideas. It is understanding the profound truth that every action, no matter how small, is part of the vast interconnected web of existence. Like the drop that joins the ocean, each decision we make carries consequences far beyond what we can see. Consider a story from the life of a wise master. A disciple asked him, "How can I make a difference in the world? I am just one person. My actions are so small." The master held up a single flame from a candle and said, "See this light. Alone, it is small, yet it can ignite another and another. Soon the darkness is filled with countless lights. So it is with your actions. Each one matters." The world often convinces us that our efforts are meaningless, that only grand gestures create impact. But wisdom teaches otherwise. A kind word spoken to a stranger can change the trajectory of their day. A smile offered to someone in despair can restore hope. A moment of patience with a child or a loved one can ripple through generations. Every small act is a drop touching the ocean, infinitely influencing lives in ways we may never witness. Our inner life follows the same principle. Thoughts, intentions, and attention are powerful forces. When we cultivate mindfulness, gratitude, and compassion, we generate ripples within ourselves that extend outward. One moment of awareness can transform hours, days, even the course of our relationships. Like the ocean, our inner life is vast, and each drop contributes to the waves. There is a Zen story that illustrates this beautifully. A monk noticed that the monastery garden was filled with weeds. Instead of lamenting the work, he began pulling them one by one. At first, it seemed futile. The weeds were many, the task endless. Yet he continued, slowly, diligently, mindfully. Over time, the garden transformed. One small act, repeated with awareness, created a lasting impact far beyond its apparent scale. The wisdom of the ocean also reminds us that impact does not require visibility. Just as a pebble's ripples extend beyond the eye's reach, the consequences of our actions often unfold quietly, invisibly in the lives of others. A drop may nourish a seed in the soil, unseen, until it sprouts into a tree that sustains countless beings. Our influence works the same way, subtle, often unnoticed, yet profoundly transformative. This understanding challenges the notion of separateness once more. If our actions affect others, if every choice sends ripples through the interconnected web of existence, then the distinction between self and other dissolves. What we do is never isolated. What we think is never solitary. The ocean is alive in every gesture, every word, every breath we take. Wisdom, then, is inseparable from compassion. To act wisely is to consider the effects of our actions, to recognize the interconnectedness of life, and to respond with care. A thoughtful word, a deliberate choice, a simple act of kindness. These are not minor or inconsequential. They are expressions of the ocean within, carrying the boundless energy of life itself. Imagine your day as a series of drops. Each interaction, each decision, each moment of attention is a drop released into the world. Alone, it may seem small, yet collectively these drops shape the ocean. The way you respond to challenges, the way you treat others, the way you cultivate awareness, all of it matters. And even if the impact is invisible to you, the ocean feels it. Life itself is shaped by the quiet, persistent force of mindful action. In practical terms, this means living with intention. Let your actions reflect the awareness of the whole. Speak kindly, even when no one is listening. Offer help, even when no one notices. Practice patience, even when impatience calls. Your efforts, however small, are never wasted. The ocean of life absorbs them, and the ripples continue to spread, reaching places you may never see, touching lives you may never know. The wisdom of the ocean teaches us humility and responsibility at the same time. Humility, because we see that we are only drops, yet capable of touching the whole. Responsibility, because we understand that every drop matters, and the care we take in our actions has consequences far beyond ourselves. This is the balance of mindful living, knowing our smallness while embracing our capacity to impact the world profoundly. And so, as we reflect on the wisdom of the ocean, we begin to see that every moment is an opportunity. Every encounter, every gesture, every thought is a drop with the potential to touch infinity. The ocean does not demand grandeur. It thrives in countless small, mindful acts, each one a reflection of its boundless nature. From this place, we naturally move toward practice. Understanding the potential of small acts inspires us to live consciously, to bring awareness, compassion, and intentionality into every moment. Each drop matters, and each drop can transform the world in ways we may never fully grasp. As the ripples of wisdom spread, they lead us naturally to explore how these principles can be applied in our daily life. How can we cultivate mindfulness, compassion, and awareness consistently, so that the ocean in each drop continues to flow, moment by moment, day by day? That is the journey of the next chapter, the practice of living the ocean in a drop. Every day, life presents us with countless drops, moments, interactions, choices, sensations. At first, they may seem ordinary, insignificant. A cup of tea, a word spoken, a glance exchanged. Yet each of these moments is a drop, carrying the entire ocean within. To live the ocean in a drop is to recognize the extraordinary in the ordinary, the infinite in the finite. This begins with mindfulness. Mindfulness is not a practice of retreating from life, but of fully entering it. When you wake in the morning, feel the breath that sustains you, the beating of your heart, the energy flowing through your body. Each inhale and exhale connects you to the mountains, rivers, skies, and forests that made your life possible. Each moment of awareness is a drop merging with the ocean. Consider the simple act of washing your hands. You may see only water and soap, a routine gesture. But with mindfulness, the moment transforms. Feel the water touching your skin, notice the warmth, the sensation of cleanliness. Imagine the journey of the water, the cloud that carried it, the rain that nourished the earth, the river that brought it to your tap. In this small act, the ocean is present and you are participating in its flow. Compassion and interconnectedness naturally arise from mindfulness. When you notice the ripple effects of your actions, even the tiniest choices, you begin to act with awareness. A kind word, a patient response, a small gesture of care. Each is a drop touching the ocean, creating waves that extend far beyond what you can see. Mindful living transforms the ordinary into the sacred. Storytelling brings this alive. A monk once observed the daily routines of his community. One person cooked rice, another cleaned the garden, another carried water. Each task seemed mundane, yet the monk saw the entire cosmos in their actions. The cook was nourishing life. The gardener was cultivating harmony. The water bearer was sustaining vitality. In each gesture, the ocean was alive, and the individuals were drops participating fully in its flow. Daily practice also includes reflection. Take a moment each day to pause and consider the intentions behind your actions. Were they born of awareness or habit? Did they cultivate kindness, understanding, and harmony? Reflection allows us to refine our actions, aligning them with the rhythm of the ocean within. It is a reminder that even the smallest drop carries the weight and potential of the whole. Breath is another doorway into living the ocean in a drop. With every inhalation, draw in life from the world around you, the sun, the rain, the soil, the forests. With every exhalation, send out energy, care, and compassion, allowing it to touch others and the world. The rhythm of breath becomes a meditation, a constant reminder that you are both drop and ocean, microcosm and macrocosm, part and whole. Even challenges and difficulties become opportunities for practice. When faced with anger, frustration, or fear, recognize the interconnectedness of these emotions. They arise due to conditions, circumstances, and relationships. Respond with awareness and compassion, transforming what may seem like a small obstacle into a wave of insight and growth. The ocean is not disturbed by the drop. It flows with it, embracing every moment fully. A beautiful metaphor from Zen illustrates this. A student complained about the monotony of daily chores. The master said, "Do each task as if it is your only task, as if it is the entire universe. Sweep the floor as if sweeping stars. Wash the dishes as if washing rivers. Pour water as if pouring oceans." The student, skeptical at first, began to notice the depth in each movement, the connection in each gesture, and gradually life became alive in every moment. Living the ocean in a drop does not require grand gestures. It requires presence, attention, awareness, seeing the infinite in the finite, the extraordinary in the ordinary. It is bringing the wisdom of interconnection, compassion, and mindfulness into the flow of daily life, moment by moment. And as practice deepens, something remarkable happens. Life becomes less about accumulating, achieving, or controlling, and more about participating in the flow of existence. The boundaries between self and other dissolve. The ordinary becomes extraordinary. Each moment becomes an opportunity to embody the ocean within, to act with wisdom, to cultivate compassion, and to touch the world with gentle, invisible ripples. From this place of daily practice, we begin to sense the profound impact of a life lived consciously. Every breath, every gesture, every thought contributes to the web of existence. And this awareness naturally leads us to reflection on impermanence, the reality that each drop, though part of the ocean, will continue its journey, eventually returning to the whole in new ways. Close your eyes and imagine a drop of water leaving the ocean. It rises as vapor, drifts across skies, falls as rain, nourishes the earth, flows into streams, and finally returns to the sea. The journey is endless. The drop changes form, yet it is never lost. This is the truth of impermanence and continuity, the dance of life, the rhythm of the cosmos. In Buddhism, impermanence, anicca, is one of the three marks of existence. Everything arises, exists, and eventually passes away. Nothing remains fixed, nothing stays separate. Yet impermanence does not mean loss or futility. It is the very mechanism of life's continuity. The drop changes, but the ocean remains. The river flows, yet the water is never gone. Change is not destruction, it is transformation, an eternal cycle in which every drop participates. Consider the seasons. Spring blossoms, summer ripens, autumn fades, winter rests. The trees lose their leaves, only to renew them again. Life flows in cycles, each moment giving way to the next. In the same way, we too are drops traveling through time, carrying the ocean within us, changing in form, yet inseparable from the whole. Impermanence invites us to embrace presence. If each drop is fleeting, then each moment is precious. Each gesture of kindness, each breath of awareness, each spark of compassion becomes a gift. We cannot cling to the moment, but we can immerse ourselves in it fully, aware of its beauty, its impermanence, and its connection to everything around us. There is a story of a monk who watched leaves fall into a river. A disciple asked, "Why do the leaves matter if they vanish so quickly?" The monk replied, "They do not vanish, they travel. They nourish the soil, feed the river, and return to life in new forms. So it is with all things. Everything flows, everything continues, everything matters." Understanding impermanence also teaches us release. Attachment is the suffering we feel when we resist change. We cling to forms, relationships, or moments as if they could remain forever. But the drop cannot hold onto the ocean. It must merge, transform, and return. When we see life this way, we begin to release fear, control, and grasping. We learn to flow like water, in harmony with the currents of existence. Continuity is the other side of this truth. Although the drop changes, it is never lost. Its essence persists, shaping the world, nourishing life, and connecting with the whole. Our actions, our words, our thoughts, though impermanent, leave echoes, ripples, and influences. The kindness we show, the love we share, the awareness we cultivate, they are never lost. They continue in the hearts and lives of others like drops returning to the ocean. A Zen story illustrates this beautifully. A student asked the master, "How can I live without clinging if everything is impermanent?" The master held a cup of water and said, "Drink, feel, enjoy. The water will flow, it will change. But it nourishes you, it becomes part of you, and it returns to the river. So it is with life. Participate fully, let go, and trust the continuity that flows through all things." In daily life, this perspective transforms our experience. Challenges and losses become part of the natural rhythm, rather than sources of despair. Joy and success are savored without clinging. Relationships are cherished without possessiveness. Every moment, like a drop, is seen as part of the endless journey, a thread in the vast tapestry of life. Embracing impermanence also deepens our practice of compassion. Knowing that each being, each drop, is on a journey filled with change, we are moved to care, to support, and to cherish the fleeting moments we share. Compassion arises not from fear or obligation, but from an understanding of the impermanent, interconnected, and continuous nature of existence. This awareness naturally leads to wisdom. We see that life is not about resisting change, but flowing with it. Each drop, each moment, each gesture matters because it is part of an infinite continuum. Nothing is wasted, nothing is separate, and everything contributes to the unfolding of the whole. And as the journey of the drop continues, it brings us naturally to the final truth, that the ocean is not distant, the drop is not alone, and life itself is a seamless, endless dance of impermanence and continuity. From the first drop to the last, the waves of awareness, compassion, and wisdom carry us toward unity, presence, and the profound realization that the whole is always here, flowing through each moment, each breath, each drop. From this understanding, we are prepared for the culmination of the journey, a reflection that ties together the wonder of the first drop, the interconnectedness of all things, the vast universe within, the boundless compassion, the wisdom of small acts, daily practice, and the endless flow of impermanence. This is the moment where the drop and the ocean, beginning and end, merge into a single, timeless experience. Take a deep breath and imagine the journey we've traveled together. From the first drop, shimmering and fragile, to the infinite ocean that cradles it, we've witnessed the profound truth of existence. Every drop carries the whole. Every part reflects the whole. And now we arrive at the culmination, the great return, where the drop and the ocean are not two, but one. To become the ocean is not a distant goal. It is a realization, a letting go, a merging. It is the understanding that the boundaries we cling to, between self and other, between past and future, between life and life, are illusions. They are waves on the surface, fleeting, temporary, yet beneath them flows the vast, boundless water of awareness, of presence, of being. Consider your own breath. Each inhale draws life from the universe. Each exhale returns it. Each heartbeat is a drop echoing the rhythm of existence. Each thought, each feeling, each gesture connects to the boundless ocean of life. The ocean is not somewhere out there. It has been within you all along. You are the drop. You are the ocean. You are the seamless flow of all things. In this great return, the wisdom of impermanence becomes clear. The drop does not vanish. It transforms, it flows, it continues. Life is a journey of becoming, of merging, of returning to the whole. Every moment of awareness, every act of kindness, every breath of mindfulness is a wave touching the infinite. The ocean has always been present. We are simply learning to recognize it within ourselves. Compassion, too, reaches its full expression here. When we see that the drop is the ocean, we cannot turn away from life. Every being is a reflection of ourselves, every encounter an opportunity to embrace the interconnectedness that binds us. To love, to care, to forgive, to heal, these are not obligations, but natural expressions of the ocean within. There is a story of a master and a disciple. The disciple asked, "How do I understand the whole?" The master held a bowl of water filled to the brim and then let it spill slowly back into the river. "The water is never lost," the master said. "It returns, transforms, merges. So it is with you. The whole is not somewhere else. It is here in every drop, in every moment, in every act." Living as the ocean does not mean perfection. The waves will rise and fall, storms will come. The drop may feel small, alone, or separate. But even in turbulence, the drop is part of the ocean. Even in uncertainty, the flow continues. Awareness, compassion, wisdom. They are the tide guiding the drop back to unity, reminding us that we are never apart from life, never apart from each other, never apart from the whole. As you reflect on this journey, allow yourself to feel it fully. Imagine the first drop of water you encountered in your mind, shimmering with possibility. Trace its path through the vast landscapes of awareness, compassion, and wisdom. Watch it merge with streams, rivers, rains, and finally the boundless ocean. Feel the continuity, the flow, the endless dance of existence. This is the great return. This is the essence of life. And now pause, let the realization settle. You are the drop, fragile yet infinite. You are the ocean, vast and unbounded, carrying within you every wave, every ripple, every act, every breath, every moment. The journey may continue, but the ocean has always been here, and you have always been a part of it. To live this way is to awaken, to breathe fully, act kindly, love deeply, and exist with the awareness of boundless interconnectedness. Each moment is a drop, and each drop carries the ocean. Each breath is a wave, and each wave carries the drop. There is no separation. There is only the flow, the return, the endless, magnificent ocean that is life itself. So, take a breath. Feel the drop within you. Feel the ocean around you. Let them merge. And in that merging, let yourself become both the witness and the wave, the microcosm and the macrocosm, the fleeting moment and the eternal whole. You are the ocean, and the ocean is you. The great return is complete. As we close this journey together, remember, the ocean is not somewhere out there. It lives within you in every drop, every breath, every mindful moment. If this message touched you, if it sparked a ripple of awareness or a quiet sense of peace, we invite you to continue walking this path with us. Subscribe to Zen Buddhism Wisdom and join our community, where every video is an invitation to explore mindfulness, compassion, and the profound teachings of Buddhism. Turn on notifications so that each new insight can meet you like a drop returning to the ocean, subtle, yet infinite in its impact. And as always, carry the ocean within you in your daily life. Breathe deeply, act with kindness, and remember that each drop matters. Thank you for being here, and may your journey be filled with clarity, compassion, and calm.